We have one final presenter for today's program. She works in corrections, and she will be talking about stereotypes today. Give her a moment to get her microphone ready. Please give a warm round of applause for Marika Maschorov.
Thank you, and hello. Before I start, a little bit myself. So, before I started to work in a prison system, Estonia, I haven't worked in public sector at all. My background is totally in private sector. So my educational background is also connected only by University of Tartu. So I got 2 masters, and they are both connected with business. So it is a little bit challenging for me today to talk about the main values about corrections. But I want to encourage you that if you get a chance to try something else, there is nothing impossible to try. And maybe it happens very well, maybe not. But I want to say that it's possible to get education also in correction in Tallinn. But I haven't tried it because in my work and in my life, I had very good education, what I got from Tartu University. And I'm happy with this, and this also helped me every day in work. So let's start with this. If we are talking about stereotyping, and I say word prison, what will you think first? What do you imagine? When I was working in a private sector, never dreamed about to work in a prison, didn't know anything about prison, maybe like you in this room. The first thing what you think, imagine about prison is thanks for the movies. You see like a very dark old basement, horrible conditions, you never want to be there. And you think it is. But nowadays, everything changed. The conditions in prison will be much better, maybe, than some institutions where we keep our oldest people who can't anymore take care of themselves, or children. Nowadays, the prisons are built in very nice and modern buildings. They have all conditions to have everything. And this one is a very decent cell, but there is also cells where we have TVs, radios, everything. They have day rooms where they can do whatever. And when I visited prisons in Sweden, they also have solariums, special rooms to do some cooking courses and dancing courses. So they think that the, let's say, the habits of the people when they will stay in the facilities like prison couldn't very much change. So they should continue normal life, normal life on that way that we are not putting them in a basement. Well, now we are talking about another stereotypes, that if you think that women are only for that they can choose a pink collar job. It means that they maybe can serve coffee or sharp pencils. They could also stay home, like Lisa Bacosta was talking about. Then it's also stereotyping. Nowadays, women choose a job which is interesting, which can raise their educational level or emotional level, or they can find some attractive side of the work, or what work can inspire them. So you don't need to follow these stereotypes. But anyway, stereotypes are important, because if we, without stereotypes, we actually have to learn each day what firefighters do, how to behave on the funeral, or what to eat in the breakfast. So somehow we need stereotypes, but we can break them. If we talk about corrections, a little bit more detail, then correction itself is a high risk, and there are a lot of dangerous situations. But comparing example situations sometimes in this rail station, Tallinn, Balti Jaam, I can't see so many differences. In a very late being in Balti Jaam, there are a lot more dangerous because in corrections or in correction facilities, you know that you are secured. There are cameras, you have some kind of tools that can help you, and you are trained. But in Balti Jaam, you never know who can do whatever they want to do. So my point of view in here is that correction is nothing you need to be worried if you would like to work there. But you must understand that people who work in corrections, they spend majority time indoors and locked together with inmates. Every job has motivational factors why people like to work in these places like corrections. If somebody asks me that I work in prison, it's like I'm telling them that I raise unicorns for the living. I can't say that that I like to communicate inmates. No, that's not inspires me. But I like my job because I can change it. And when I start 2001 to work in prison system, I got actually free hands to change the system itself. When the Minister of Justice asked me to start to work in prison system, and particularly in Tartu prison, which was the newest and which actually started to change all the old system, I was saying honestly that I don't know anything about prison, and actually don't want to know about prisons. But then they asked me that, do you want to challenge? Do you want something new? Do you want to change? Yeah, I want. Well, we learn you. We sent you Estonian prisons. You can see the old model, the mostly Soviet-minded prisons. And you can learn what would like you change right now. And then we sent you in the Nordic countries, and you will take like some examples, not all the system. As I said before, in Sweden, if you go to the prison, you sometimes don't feel that you are in the prison. You are like in a customer service center or something like that. And thanks for the Minister of Justice, I got really free hands, a lot of help. And the system, what we started to change, was so challenging that I like every minute I worked in the prison system, and I like my job. But mostly people who work in the prison system, the motivators why they work are example benefits. What kind of benefits? We used to have a very long vacation, 45 days. Nowadays it's 35 days, but you would have maybe some other extra days if you do something extraordinary. So there is a qualification. We have every year a lot of different trainings. How to understand the manipulation, how to say no, or how to act on these circumstances that person are lying to you. I mean, all these trainings are very useful also in the next life if you don't want to work any more corrections. About more a little bit benefits that you get free entry in the sport clubs because you need to be in a very good physical shape. You get free time to go during your working days to the gym to have exercises. Also, you get a tremendous amount of different trainings about self-defense, shooting, and in this year we also start to study mixed martial arts. So there is a lot of activities what we offer people who work in prison system. Also income potential. The salary used to be in old time quite lower in prison system. Today, if you are educated and you have a higher education, it means also that you have higher education not in correction or other subjects. You get the lowest level of the salary, what you get is 1,500 euros. And you can work in the prison system. You get extra training for that. Job prospects, it means that as our system is changing all the time, you have opportunities to go maybe to work in the Ministry of Justice in prison department, maybe in other prisons. Maybe you get another job inside your prison. So there's always possibilities that you get work what you are dreaming. Opportunities for advancement. I mean, we have a lot of good stories about people who rise on the very low rank of prison officer until the governor today. So that's also possibilities for everyone. About interesting job, I don't know how much of you like work which is every day the same routine. You are going to the work, you have a cup of coffee, then you count the numbers, then you sign some papers, look in computer, answering some calls. Nothing happened. You know that it's really very decent day. But working in corrections, none of these days are similar to the others. Always happening something. Because, you know, if we are not creative, inmates are very creative. They do everything to keep us in good shape. So you are standing with the manipulation, shaming, and blows, but you like it because it's like a game. Let's take on that way. So, noble profession. Some of the prison officers, actually, when they put the uniform on and take the badge, they are thinking they represent not only the system, but also citizens in their jurisdiction. This is an honor for them to be a prison officers. So if some of these colleagues screw up, they really feel a tremendous embarrassment. Now, back to the woman in corrections. Actually, there are not very much differences between men and women today in the corrections. There are some, let's say, different maybe attitudes or what men think it's important and what women think it's important. But they are not so large today anymore. If men are looking for the stable work, they think that the main meaning in correction is to control inmates and secure them, then women actually would like to help inmates, that if they go back to the society, they don't do any more of these mistakes. They like to rehabilitate offenders and also like with others. They are more socialized. Not only that, go to gauge and be quiet. There are made a lot of researches about men and women corrections, and not as women are very naive and don't understand where they are working. Men really see a job in correction more dangerous than women. I think it's also because it's a very much male-dominated world in the prison facilities, and men would like that it should be very secure. Inmates must go in one leg, so they don't need to cry or do whatever they want. They need to be punished in the system. But women are taking the job like another job. They are not paying attention so much about how the inmates are behaving every minute. I don't want to say that women are tolerating mess or whatever, but they are not taking prisons like they were in old times. They are more tolerate communications, good word, saying motivate inmates. If the behavior is good, they will say that you're really good, you are taking part of the courses, what meant to you, and I see some changes. You are soon ready to go to the society back. And female staff are more satisfied also to work in corrections because they are working in a non-traditional field. It makes them feel that I can do it. Nobody don't believe that, but I can do it. I don't feel myself badly. Also, women are very much multitask. They are able to do different things in one and same time. They look in the monitor, what are the people doing, at the same time fill some papers, and also take call for the inmates who is complaining that it's not warm in the cell yet. But men do these things one time. Looking at the monitor, everything's correct. Well, now I fill the paper. Now I look at the phone and say, be quiet. Well, but there is some obstacles for women working in a male prison, and I would like to point them out because they actually didn't change. The last one is not only that women do not have the key to the men's washroom, but they also in Estonia can't charge male inmates. It is common in United States and also in United Kingdom that they can do something like that, but in Estonia they can't do. Why is these obstacles? Because if, example, happening something in the day room, there are, let's say, 42 inmates, and two of these attacked somebody, and they do that on the way that they escape to the washroom. The female correction officers standing on the door. They closed the door, she couldn't open, so she can only call the help. But the men correction officer can pass these problems. These advices actually made early in 90s, and they are relevant even today, that all what is written in here is maybe the same like if you work in a department store. There's nothing to be especially point out. So there is only things that be decent, be professional, don't talk things that are not appropriate to talk, and stay calm even in conflict situations. What is different maybe in prison is keep your mental health in a good repair. It means that if you have any kind of issues back in home or in the personal life, don't share any notes or stories with inmates. They use that immediately, and it will end quite sadly. They will manipulate with you, and if you are vulnerable, they use that also with pleasure. So we actually, in this year, seeing how our prison officers are working and they got new challenges, so we made a contract with a psychiatrist that we not giving them opportunity, but we are sending them just for the small talk, everyone once a year, that psychiatrists can immediately give them help if they need. If they are okay, so it's just a small talk, 15 minutes, maybe less, maybe minutes more. But if they have a problems, then they get professional help. Estonian people, not only Estonian actually, also the same is among of colleagues of Sweden and Finland, they don't want to open themselves. If they have a problem, they will suffer with this problem until it really happens dramatically. Even United States in prison are a lot of suicides among of prison officers because they don't handle the problems. And that is because the inmates population in the United States is dramatically increased. And these officers got more and more work. But in our country, it's not thanks for the inmates population are increasing. That's not, but our nature is so that keep your problems yourself, and if you are opening, please look where and when. What about more women? Women are, in my mind, they are more creative. They took all the team for their decision making. They asked for the team members, what do you think about this? How we can solve this problem? This is not a waste of time or money or resources. They just want every team member to feel like a part of the team. So they are not making a own person decision. They took all the team together and find then really good solving for the problem. Leadership in correction doesn't very much be different as other places. And when I had my professional affiliation in Washington Federal Prison Bureau head office, I met Harley Lapin, who was really a great mentor in my life. He pointed out things about how to be a good leader in prison. And I support every his thought in here, what he suggested. So he really thought for everything. He said that there are a lot of books about how to be a good leader, but very few books about how to be a good leader in prisons. And actually the prisons are different. There are differences to be a leader in a prison where are young offenders and prison where are female. And it's different also to be a leader in male prison. So as last decade, there are a lot of women entering the prison system, and they are raising their education, they are going on the top, they are ready to make changes more than men, unfortunately, today. As I said before, the prison was like institution about behavioral control. Today we are changing the prison institution, which has role as a behavioral change. It means that if we would like that the inmates are not wasting our money, taxpayers' money, that they are not coming back to the prisons, we need to give them academic and life skills, and they should be treated with substance abuse problems. But it's a huge work. Unfortunately, I can't say today that we are very successful. Why? Because we are a little bit behind of these approaches. I mean, the generation in prison during these 12 years I have been in prison system changed quite much. Today we have these young men in prison who started their prison career when they were kids, when they started as young offenders. So their mainstream and their thinking and their hope for the life are totally different. And the programs that we are today providing them, I can't say that these are very successful. So we need to change something to see model examples, maybe mostly in the United States, because the problems that we everyday met are quite similar. We don't have Estonian prison system, the gang problems, but we have these young criminals mentality that I don't care. And prison is a place like a station that I rest a little bit, then go out and do something else and more horrible. So what is more important in prison is mentoring and coaching. Both women and men need mentors because they help to raise stars of both genders. If you have an oldest colleague to help you, and you can discuss about these problems with the oldest colleague or colleague who has the same system but had more opportunity about these experiences, this is a remarkable help for you. I have been blessed with good people around me. I met many good mentors, as I said before, previous director in Federal Prison Bureau. Also, when I started to work here in prison system, then Secretary General, also previous Secretary General Mihkel Oviir, was one of the biggest mentors, and he told me what is okay to do in the prison and what is not. I have very good coach when I had difficult times. When maybe in the beginnings I thought that I'm not good at the system. I don't like the prison system at all, because my colleagues on that times were the age my fathers. They had this Soviet mentality. There was a lot of corruptions. So I thought that I can't fight with them. If I made any kind of new project, they said that no, this is not impossible, this is crap, we will not agree with this. So I have difficult moments, and then I got a lot of support and coaching. My good teacher, Maja Vadi from Tartu University, she was really good, helping me these difficult moments and helped me go through all these, let's say, my steps, what I need to do next to achieve for the final top. So the last thing is that I want to finish my presentation the words of Vicky Spriggs, Executive Director, Texas Juvenile Probation Commissioner, who suggested that every woman who is interested in maximizing their life journey should dream bigger than your window, find your passion, remember that difficulties is not for that they stop you, but they test your commitment, and surround yourself valuable people, quality people, and learn from them. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you very much, Marika. Are there any questions? No questions. Okay, I would like to thank all the presenters today. Could we have a round of applause for everyone who gave a presentation? Thank you all very much for coming, and in about 2 or 3 minutes, if anyone is interested in the tour of this building, please meet on the steps in about 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Have a good day.